Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Salam Hanif and I'm going to be talking about our Fortinet Ansible solution. So let's begin. So this is the third of our 4 lecture series on using Ansible and Fortinet to make a solution for a DevOps environment. So in this tutorial, we're going to set up a CentOS dev and prod virtual machines. And then on those dev machine, we're going to install a WordPress dev instance, and we're going to install a production WordPress instance on our prod VM. And then we're going to verify that we're able to reach each of them. So if you've been following the last 2 tutorials, we've created 2 VLANs, one for a dev environment and one for a production environment. We've also configured 2 CentOS servers on each of those VLANs. Now, this is common practice to have applications on a dev and productions separate. In that way, developers can tinker with the dev instance of WordPress, for example, without breaking the production instance. Once changes are okay on the dev instance, then we can push those changes to the production instance. So why did we choose WordPress? Well, it's a simple application that is still commonly used throughout the web. A lot of websites are using WordPress for their blogs, a lot of companies as well. We found that it will be easy to adapt from this tutorial to use in your organization if needed. And we've already had an Ansible Playbook developed for a previous project that used WordPress. So let's begin by going on to our dev server. So first I'm going to make sure I'm on the proper VLAN. So I'm on VLAN 200. And I'm just going to close this window for now. And I'll open up a terminal. I'll increase the font size a bit here to make it readable. Okay. So let's log on to our dev instance. Okay. So what we'll do is we're going to create a directory for our VM. Okay. And we're going to download a cloud version of CentOS. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake here. Take a bit to download. So there's one thing to notice with this cloud version of CentOS. It requires a special ISO to be bootstrapped during the install cloud init. And this way it pushes an SSH key into the user, so there's no password login to this CentOS cloud. We're going to install a tool in a second that will allow us to open up this image and inject a password into the root user. So the package we're going to use is this vert customize package. Vert customize application. And as you can see, it's going to set the root password to temp123. We'll change that password. It's not going to be there for much longer. So right now we run the application, it's opening this image up and it's going to perform some actions, and now it's complete. So the next thing we need to do is we need to create a network adapter for this virtual machine to connect to. So we're going to create a TuneTap interface. and I'm using my username. I try to use users as much as possible and avoid using root. So, okay, so it seems I've already have it installed. I'll take a look. So we have it here. I'll just continue going through this to just verify things are running properly and set this up. So I'll quickly show you what has happened. So we created this virtual bridge, which acts as a virtual switch essentially. And we have this, in our last tutorial, we set up this interface for VLAN 100. So this is our uplink to our network. And now what we've done is we've added another interface, TAP-WP, which is our WordPress, which is our network interface for our WordPress instance. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to verify I have this application called Screen installed. And then I'm going to open a session. And so now we're in this application of Screen. And then I'm going to spin up a VM. Okay, I broke something here. Just 1 second. It's just a bad copy and paste apparently. So we'll try it again. And here we go. We're launching a CentOS VM at the moment. I'll give it a bit for it to start up. And now I'll log in as the root user with our really bad password, and I'll change that. Now, what we usually do is we never log into any virtual machines or any servers as the administrator. We usually use a normal user that has elevated privileges. So we're going to create that user right now. So we'll just do a user add. And the -G-wheel is what enables this user CentOS to have these admin privileges. So we'll create that user, and then we'll set a password for this user. I'm going to disregard this for now. I know it's very bad practice, but this is a demo, and at the end of this demo I will be blowing away this VM. So the next thing we'll notice is we need to set up the network interface. So if we take a look in /etc sysconfig network scripts, we do an ls here, it's looking for this interface ETH0. But if we take a look at all the interfaces we have available, we don't have ETH0, we only have ENS3. So what we'll do is we'll create that interface configuration right now. So just copy this. So we're going to assign it the IP address 10.1.1.80. And then I am going to restart the network. And then I'm going to check. So we do now have an IP address for interface. So I'm going to ping the outside world. And we got a connection. So we're going to repeat this exact same process for the prod server. So here's one thing that's very essential. We always try to keep our application server, the dev server, and the production server all in parity. And this comes from, if you take a look on Google for this concept of 12-factor app. So we'll go here really quickly. So 12-factor app is a great guidelines of how to create applications that are easily, seamlessly transferable from a dev to a prod environment. And if we scroll down here, we start seeing the 12 factors, and we keep going down here, and you'll see the dev prod parity. Keep development, staging, and production as similar as possible. By doing this, you make your flow between dev to production much more manageable. This is a great read, and a lot of the stuff that we try to practice follows this 12 factors. So we'll go back here, and so we're going to jump off of this server now. So I'll close this, and I'll detach my session, and I'll get off of our developer machine, and I'll get onto our prod machine now. So then I'll go to VMS, and then usually when you do a clean install of CentOS, you do not get the wget packet, wget command application, so you will have to use curl, and I'm going to put it there. And again, sorry, it doesn't seem like it's rendering properly, so I'll just go to the website really fast, and I'll scroll down to get the latest version right here. So I'll copy link address, and we'll download this. And again, we're going to open up this image, and we're going to force our root to this password temp123. Okay. Okay, and now so we'll give this a while for it to finish, but we're going to create a network interface like we did with the dev server. So I'll just copy this here. We're getting this error because I did a dry run earlier and I didn't clean up the interface, so it's still sitting there. I'm just going to double check that these other things are working properly. Okay. And again, we're going to verify I have screen running. I'm going to create a screen session, and I'm going to spin up a VM, and it's probably going to error out. Yep, errored out. Second. And just one note, we actually did change the MAC address. We just iterated up by one. I found that if you don't iterate your MAC addresses or you don't change them, you get weird network routing sometimes. So we like to always change our MAC addresses. So we'll give it a moment and let it start up. So we'll log in as root and our really terrible password, and then we'll change our really terrible password. And then again, we'll want to create this user and give this user a password. And then again, we do this. Our network adapter does not have a IP address, so we'll set one for it. And then let's restart the network. Okay, and let's try to ping the outside world, and we got connectivity. Okay, so we can close this and detach. Okay. So now we're going to log off of the production server, and we're back onto our workstation, and we need to go back into our directory where we created the virtual env, and we need to activate the virtual environment. So here we go. We're back into our virtual environment. So what we'll do now is we're going to clone a WordPress, an Ansible WordPress playbook, and we'll go into it. And I'm going to open this up in VS Code. Shrink the screen a bit. I'm going to open up a new terminal. And we're going to copy the host file. So if you see this host file here, it has some the actual host we want to connect to and the username. So I'm going to copy that to host. I believe it was host-dev and host. I like to keep separate dev servers and prod servers in different inventory files. This helps avoid any confusion or any conflicts. So we'll just go here, and I'll call this dev local, and we'll give it the host 10.1.1.80, and the user for this is CentOS. And then we'll go here, and then we'll just do prod.local, and then I'm going to do 10.1.2.80 and call this, change the user to CentOS. We'll save it. And now we're actually ready to run our playbook. So I'll go back here. Picture of everything. Okay, so I'm going to do Ansible Playbook -I. So we're going to use the dev inventory file -k, and then WordPress. So the K's represent you're going to connect to the server, and you're going to supply a password and a pseudo password. So when the Ansible tries to log in, it uses Parabellyx, and it's going to pass the passwords over. So this is CentOS password, and then, okay, we'll just hit this one. And then, okay, so I forgot to SSH in first. There's a faster trick around this. I just don't remember how to do it right now. So that, yes, and the password for this user, and then we'll get off. And now we'll just launch this, and then we'll give it a couple minutes. Yep, okay, so it looks like it's working. So this playbook will actually take quite some time. It's because this CentOS cloud version that we pulled down needs to undergo an update, and it's a really long process. So while we're provisioning our dev server, I'm going to create a new shell, and I'm going to run the playbook again, but this time I'm going to go for our prod server. And I'll go back here to see what's going on. Yep, still updating. And this one will be enabling the ePal repo, and then it's going to go to update. So this process is going to take some time. We'll try to fast track the video to the point where it's almost done. Okay, so it looks like our Ansible Playbook is wrapping up. Yep, okay, so now we've finished installing WordPress on our dev instance and our production instance. So what we'll do now is we'll visit the dev instance. .1.1.80. And we'll get this because we don't have a proper SSL certificate, but we'll click here and then we're at our main page. So we'll set the dev username to this. I'll take this password. I'll create I'll store this password. Let's try. No. So I'll store it there, and then for email, I will use WordPress local. So we'll try this to verify it works. And then we'll visit the site, and let's edit this site and make it look more like it's a dev instance. So we'll just put the word hello dev. We'll update it. Perfect. Now let's go visit our production. And again, we get the SSL problem. Prod, username, WordPress. We'll save the password. So press discourage and install this. We'll log in, and so WordPress, our password here. And let's go to the main screen, edit it, and let's make it look like it's a production. So we'll just put hello prod update. See, okay, and there we go. So now we have a dev instance of WordPress in our dev zone, and now we have a production instance in our production zone. So this wraps up our tutorial for this session. Basically, all we really did was use Ansible to deploy a instance of WordPress in a dev environment and in a production environment. So in the next tutorial, we actually have to address how to actually properly separate the dev and production environment. Right now on my laptop, I'm able to go with VLAN 200 to both instances, and that's not ideally what we want. We want the firewall's policies to prevent devs to going to prod. and we'll address that in our fourth and final video series. If you have any questions or feedback, please reach me at the email address here or any of my colleagues, and we will provide you our contact info at the bottom of this video. Thanks again for watching.